Welcome back, friends and foes. We're here today with another video at Trial Mountain Circuit Reverse. In the GT3 class, I'm driving my GTR with my white royal purple themed livery that I did create myself. I do feel like I did a great job on it. I feel like it's very vibrant and stands out from the pack. But I wanted to show y'all today some of the chaos that I endured on this circuit. It was a bit of a struggle for me to find a clean race and even find some good battles in this track. Going into the second turn, coming out wide with a nice cut in the inside, and this guy bodied into the wall like that sandwich I just ate. But tucked into the slipstream, I'm up a position, keeping a nice line behind the pack. The guy ahead of me drive you crazy, got a bump, Peppa Pig sideways. This guy into the wall, what the hell is going on? He's coming out the grass. It's a lot of chaos, but I'm up 4 positions, so they keep it up and I'm good to go. Kind of light on the gas. It's very easy to lose traction in this sector of the track. Taking the inside line, getting a nice cut before the back straight, going in the inside, coming out wide, chasing them down through this straightaway. As I catch up a little bit through the slipstream, going into the next turn, I feel like I'm gonna just try to keep a line behind, drive you crazy, and possibly work with him to continue to catch up to the front group. Taking the outside line, not trying to put too much pressure on him. I want to be able to tuck behind him on the main straight and use that slipstream to possibly gain another position. Come out the tunnel, I tuck back into the slipstream. I feel like if I have no speed, I should be able to pass him on the main straight. I have to execute this section perfectly though, which I tend to do most of the time. And I feel like I did at that moment as well, coming out with maximum speed, easy pass. Pretty much took me half the lap to catch up to the group ahead of us. They've been battling it out as well, but I'm gonna try my best to not get involved with that and hopefully just slip on by. I already up 6 positions, so I'm doing very well in this race. Going out to the outside line, gonna try to cut in the inside, and this guy Roger also trying to cut into the inside, tapping him and throwing him sideways. Very unfortunate moment at that point because I was making such good time and a 5-second penalty. That is devastating to the time that I was making because I'm about to lose it all on the back straight, I already know. And looking ahead, drive you crazy into the wall. I'm not sure what he was looking at, but you definitely missed your breaking point, my boy. Going into the back straight, getting ready to serve my penalty. 5 seconds in this race is devastating because not only does it slow you down and you serve the 5 seconds, it's the time you have to spend to even catch back up to maximum speed. As you see, I just lost 7 positions. Going into the end of the 3rd lap, as you can see, Roger once again pushed into the wall. Clearly he's having a hard time staying on track, and I'm having a hard time finding a clean race because this track here has been chaotic. But this part coming up, this is the part I want y'all to pay attention to because this was the most aggravating part of all this chaos in this race. Yellow flag goes up, it says no passing. Okay, cool. MP Jr. pushes Topian wide. I'm taking the inside line as I should. And we both make a pass technically. 3-second penalty for both of us. As if I did not just serve 5 seconds, another 3 seconds on top of that for my time is devastating to my race. A bit of a drag race down the back straight, so I guess this part was a little bit fun going into the end of the race, but my time was killed. And then MP Jr. into the wall. I'm not sure what he was looking at, my guy, but you definitely missed your breaking point. I'm so happy that race is over. I take myself back to qualifying to improve my time. For that race, starting out in 14th place, I think I was like 2,000 in my global ranking. So as you see, I did rank myself up to 853. Going into race number 2, starting out in 4th position, as you can see, the qualifying definitely did help me with a better starting position. Tucking into the slipstream of this guy, Honda, who I guess is dropping his Porsche today. And if you notice the name Peppa Pig starting out behind me, I've talked about this guy a couple of times because I always felt like he was an over-aggressive driver. Already tapped me from the back on the first turn. Going into turn 2, easy on the gas so I don't lose traction. Peppa Pig coming up my right side, giving me the minimum space needed to miss that fence. Definitely pushing me to the outside line. I'm already thinking to myself I need to avoid this guy, but no. It's the 5th place guy that taps me, pushes me into the grass, already down 10 positions, down to last place. This guy into the wall, Mr. Z somehow in the grass. I'm not even sure what's going on with him. This is the very same race I just came from, chaotic, and we just got started. Trying not to be too hard on the gas so I don't lose too much traction out of this turn. I hear him slamming into the wall. Going into lap 2, behind 51 driver, going back into turn 1. At this point, it's about how many positions I can get back. I'm already up 2 more positions. Yellow flag is up. Another guy into the wall. 51 driver pushing the wall a little bit slightly that he did lose time. I don't know what's going on with these guys. Going into the end of lap 3, one of my favorite sections of the track. I'm thinking if I can get maximum speed and get into the slipstream, but no, I see 2 more guys in the ghosting phase because they somehow were knocked off the track. This track, like I said, it's just been chaos throughout all my races so far. Getting behind Chris 11, thinking about cutting the inside line and take the cut, getting a little aggressive. He goes out wide trying to give me the space, but he gives me a little bit too much space, so he definitely lost a lot of time on that race. And final lap, going across the finish line, I happen to gain at least 6 positions back, finishing in 8th place. That race wasn't too bad. Evidently, this white livery was giving me problems, and I feel like if I change my livery, I will have a better race. I don't know why I do that, but this is my black royal purple livery that also I think is very vibrant. This is my 3rd race of the day, starting out in 3rd place, so hopefully that's good luck for me, as well as me changing into my black livery. Tucking into the slipstream as early as possible, needing to get maximum speed, but also find my braking point because I do not want to bump into the back of them, as well as not being tapped from the back going into turn 1. It's always the most chaotic turn. Getting into the gas as early as possible, I do a brief look behind me to check the traffic. It's all looking good. As we get to the end of the back straight, Tekken 1 and MJP are slightly getting into a battle, so what I do not want to do is intervene with that and start battling with 2nd place and allowing 1st place to start pulling off. That is one of the worst things that can happen when you have a top 3. Taking the outside line slightly, MJP losing traction, so he's also losing time. Trying to give him a little bit of space because, as I just noted, I don't want to fight with him, and Tekken only starts to pull away as he's already doing. So it's not looking good this far into the race. Going into my favorite section, I'm already thinking, make the cuts perfectly, maximum speed in a straightaway, and I can go for the pass at the end of the lap. As the end of the straight comes up, MJP going kind of wide, so I'm going to do an inside cut. A little bit aggressive, cross the track a little bit, but I still keep it within the limits. Give him his space as well. Racing fair, on the outside a little bit. In 4th place, coming up my right side, making for the pass. So I'm going to tuck behind him, and then I'm going to try to go aggressive for an inside move, and he slams his brakes in front of me. I don't understand why some drivers do that, because that is just a recipe for chaos. So I try not to let that bother me too much. I understand that if I can just make my next couple turns correctly, going into the back straight, I can tuck into his slipstream, and that will give me an opportunity to make another pass. Finding my braking point, cutting the inside of the turn on the gas as early as possible, coming out with a nice line in the slipstream. As expected, I feel like he will try to be defensive because he did just pull an outrageous move. As you see, he's sliding right slightly, so I'm not even going to take the chance to slide right. I hit the outside of the line, let the top speed carry me through the straight, but I understand that he's probably going to take a lunge, so I'm going to brake slightly early. And as you see, he's going out wide. On the gas a little early, back into the inside of the turn. On the outside of him again. On the gas as early as possible, trying to carry maximum speed through this turn. He's giving me some room playing it fair, but not as much as I would like. Coming on the outside of the turn, a little tap slightly that does put me in the grass a little bit. Getting into the tunnel, I slam our brakes as early as possible to avoid him, which kind of throws me off my line. Losing traction and definitely losing time, which is what I've been trying to avoid doing this whole race. On the brakes early for him, I don't know what's going on, and as you see, he grazes the wall a little bit, so I'm not sure if he's being defensive or he's just off his mark and he's losing time as well. But as you notice, 1st and 2nd place definitely are pulling away from us. Coming on the outside of the turn, on the gas a little bit too early, so I did start slipping out. On the brakes in the tunnel, doing a nice inside cut on the gas as early as I possibly can. Tucking into the slipstream, going back into my favorite section of the track. At this point, I'm thinking if I can do what I always do perfectly, I can get into his slipstream at full speed and make a pass for him. Definitely hit that thing at full speed, but I did catch a penalty for cutting the track, so that was very unfortunate. But I did also set the fastest lap time for that lap, so I was pretty happy about that. I do get a pass taking the outside line, but going into turn two, I do kind of go a bit wide, giving me a little bit of space. I do find myself in the grass and into the wall slightly. At that point, that's pretty much how that race went. Finishing in fourth place, which is a lot better than the previous races I've been having. So at least I was close to the place that I started in. I take myself back to qualifying to increase my time, and now I am ranked 386 in the global ranking. So I'm very happy about that. I don't think I've ever been that high on the charts. And as you see, good luck messages from the people above. This is race number 4 of the day, starting out in first place, the GOAT position. I'm already mentally preparing myself to just get this first and second turn down properly, that I know if I can get out these first 2 turns without any chaos, chances are if I stay focused and hit my turns properly, I can just break away from the pack, and this should be an easy dub for me. Getting out the first 2 turns perfectly on the gas as early as possible, so everything's looking up. And I skipped the entire race because I did just that. I led the entire race with minimum problems. But if you do notice, taking only does have the fastest lap. I had a couple errors throughout my race, nothing too major that put me in a bad position, but enough for him to be on my tail this entire race. So we're going into the back straight, and he's well within slipstream range. If you notice, pretty much nobody behind us. I'm going to adjust myself right just slightly and see what position he plays. He doesn't get too aggressive, takes the outside line. I have a better top end, so it is a struggle for him to pass me, but if I hit a good braking point, I think everything will be all right. He brakes extremely early, assuming he gets on the gas very early, taps me from the back and bumps me into the wall. So that definitely was a time killer for me. Kind of unfortunate moment, but I didn't take it to the head because I know that this is also racing. He probably just miscalculated his steps. Getting into the slipstream behind him, but unfortunately, that tap to the wall did cause me some damage. So my car is not turning the way that it needs to, taking me extremely wide. Going into the last section of the race, finishing second place. Going into my final race of the day, starting out in first place once again. I have the same mindset. Good turn 1, good turn 2, break away from the pack. I ease myself outside, but not too much. I brake slightly late because I don't want to get hit from the back, but going into turn 2, I brake early with the hopes of getting on the gas as early as possible and starting to pull away from the pack. And I'm kind of making good progress with that as we hit the back straight. As you see, MJP, one of the top contenders from the last race, is tucking in my slipstream behind me, so I'm already in my head assuming I have a battle coming up because he was a very fast racer, I think, in the previous races that we just had. Looking behind me though, I overbrake my turn, so going out wide definitely gave him the opportunity to gain some more time on me, and at this point, he's directly behind me. Going into the outside, taking the outside line when I should have been defensive in the inside of my line, but sometimes I do indulge in the battles, which is probably a downfall in my racing ability. He takes the inside, as he should, being defensive, tucking behind him. Third place directly behind us is 2, so we do kind of have a top 3 battle going on. But I'm already in my head that as we hit the main straight, I'm going to use my maximum speed through this section that I always tend to have and go for the pass. He's being defensive. As you see, he's not trying to slide to the right a little bit too much, so I'm going to move over to the right. Have a little bit of top end speed over him, but I'm going to try to brake a little bit late, hit the outside of the turn and gain a pass. I passed him for a split second, braking early, shutting him out the inside of the turn. I'm starting to be as aggressive as I need to be throughout this race, on the gas as early as possible. He's directly behind me. I don't want to have to slam my brakes too hard, but he's taking the inside line, so I'm going to give him his space. On the gas as early as possible, prepping myself to have the inside line going into this section right here because I think this was the more important turn. On the gas as early as possible again, trying not to lose traction because that part of the track is very slippery. It's very easy to slam it to the wall if you're on the gas too hard. He's taking the inside line again, losing traction. I'm coming out with a very nice line. He tucks it to my slipstream, and we just start going down the back straight. I keep looking back because I love when the lights come on as we go through the tunnel. The scenery in this game, I've spoke about it before, I just think is very nice. So sometimes I do try to admire the scenery in the middle of a race, which is not the best thing to do. On the brakes, very nice. On the gas as early as possible. Very good line through that section. Creating a little bit of distance from the people behind me, but they're always in slipstream range, so it's not like I'm making the best time that I should have. MJP directly behind me, putting the pressure on. I can feel it. He's taking the inside line, very aggressive. Very fair though. I appreciate him not doing the most at this point. Going into, again, my favorite section of the track. I'm always mentioning how I love this section because it's very easy to mess it up, but if you hit it perfectly, the speed you carry through that straightaway is game changing, I think. Entering turn 2 kind of at a bad angle and slightly hesitant on the brakes, so I do find myself going into the grass a little bit. Definitely a time killer. MJP coming up the inside, so I'm trying my best to tuck back into his slipstream and gain some time back. I need to do my best to dial in and focus and get my position back. I've been going through too much chaos on this track, and it's time for me to catch a win. Going on the outside, easy on the gas coming into this turn because I don't want to lose traction. Not really the best angle. You see he starts to pull off slightly, and it pretty much took me the rest that I'll have to catch back up to him. But I'm back on his tail, back in the slipstream, coming into the main straight. I know that I'm in position to where if I can stay steady and carry my top end through the straightaway, I could probably catch another pass at the turn 1 like I did 2 laps previously. Moving right, he's definitely being defensive as he was before, as expected. Trying to do a little bit of a late break, going on the outside of the turn. He's pushing me wide a little bit, being defensive, as he should. I'm going to cut back into the inside on the gas as early as I can, staying directly behind him to make the most of the slipstream. If he's going to be in front of me, he's going to feel this pressure. Taking a wider approach through the turn than I normally would, trying to keep it smooth and on the gas as early as possible. That's always my goal coming out of a turn. Staying tucked behind him. I want him to feel pressure and hopefully slip up, ram into the wall, cut the track, catch a penalty, anything that it takes for me to have a win this race. Nice braking through the turn, in the inside, slightly tighter than he is, on the gas, extremely early. He's pulling off slightly, but the slipstream is definitely going to carry me through the straightaway. Staying tucked behind him. He's moving right, definitely knows that I'm behind him. I don't know if he's hoping that with him moving right that I would just go back left, but I'm going to stay tucked behind him. Use that speed to gain access to catch a pass. On the brakes a little bit early. Hopefully he goes wide. On the gas as early as possible. Taking the inside line. On the outside of him. Braking early again. Trying to take the inside line. Anything I can do to throw him off his course. He cuts back left. I go back to the outside. Basically smothering him into this corner. I'm really putting the pressure on him. Third place comes creeping out of nowhere. I'm not really sure how this is about to play out. But I take the inside line. On the gas as early as possible, tucking it to the slipstream. It's all going to come down to this last section and how he hits this to determine who wins this race. Taking this and executing it perfectly as I normally do. He slips up a little bit. I come to the right side. It's a top end battle to the finish line, and I am there for the win, baby. That is how I need to end this race. Typing him a nice message, letting him know that it was a great race. That was fun. That was a way I needed to end my day. I appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch y'all again for the next video.